Okay, so we said we're gonna do intro. That's me. We're gonna do Johanna imitation game first.
Yes. Sorry, it's the best movie I've seen since Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but you guys know that doesn't mean much. I think I saw a movie in between.
Wait a second. You like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes better than Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Guardians 2. Um, like in terms of repeat watching, I've already watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Um, and I haven't watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and I have both of them. On this thing called Voodoo with the
Yeah.
ultraviolet, yeah. So I don't understand it. I'm like one of those people in the Middle Ages who's just like there are tiny men inside it. That's how it works. You know?
Yeah, I don't
There's
think I bought Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I have it here, and I haven't even opened it yet. Um, I bought it because it was on sale. It was like on sale for nine. It was sale for $10. So I was like, oh, let me just get it now because I know eventually I'm gonna get it. So
yeah,
Get
Sean
what?
put it
Can you
on
hear me?
Voodoo.
Get what?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
On Blu-ray?
I bought it on Blu-ray, but Johannes got it on Vudu.
Yeah.
So I just did like
Right.
a complete reboot and stuff. So if that doesn't take care of it, then I don't know what will.
All right, so hopefully that's all right. So yeah, so Lorenzo, you will go third to do the Boyhood review or tell us about the movie, and then we will do the Golden Globe stuff. And if you get cut off in between there, then we will just jump right into the Golden Globes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see we're already recording, Joe.
Yeah, I just kicked it off like a 2 minutes ago or something like that.
All right, cool. Hold up.
It's been 2 minutes and still we have 0 viewers. I don't understand this.
Hmm.
Hold on, I just want to get some information about Imitation Game, who's starring in it, blah blah blah.
Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yeah, Sherlock
Tywin
Holmes.
Lannister, Keira Knightley, the hot Irish dude from Downton Abbey, Ozymandias.
Or what's it, Mr. Wickham. Mr. Wickham
Yes,
to you.
because I was looking at him, I'm like, you're so familiar. And I looked him up and I'm like, oh.
Okay,
I, I thought it was a good movie. I'm actually right now reading an article criticizing the film. Which,
of course. Well,
Was it made by Germans? Was it written by Germans or
yeah. They think that Alan Turing wasn't portrayed properly.
oh,
But I actually think it was because they're just like, oh, he was just portrayed as a tortured genius, as like a otherworldly nerd, and I'm like, no, like they were kind of portraying him as if he had Asperger's, which he might have had, but I don't know.
is there anybody around to disagree that really knows what he was like?
I mean, it's possible.
I'm sure it's possible. I'm just saying,
I mean, there's a book written about it, and I thought the movie was really good. I thought that, there are just these moments where he switches from being super arrogant, thinking he's better than everyone, and then like retreating into kind of like this like extremely tortured like kid who was severely bullied in school, and it's kind of like back forth there at the same time, and I thought that was a really interesting. That's hard to portray all at the same time, so I thought,
Don't say too much. Save it because you're gonna use it, right?
you're about to use it
yes,
right now.
yeah. Oh, we're live.
Here we are.
Wow.
All right.
You're spoiling it for all our viewers.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
We're ready. I'm ready.
Yes. What's going on, everybody, and welcome once again to the Agents of Helm, our weekly review special. This is the episode where we give you a good, quick dosage of movie reviews and television show reviews of things that we've been watching, and hopefully give you a little bit of information that you can take out into your world and enjoy some of the things that we've been paying attention to in the world of entertainment. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my fellow agents for the evening. First off, we have Johanna,
Ahoy, hoy!
and and second we have Joe,
What's up, people?
and of course, last but not least, let me introduce Lorenzo.
Hey.
Inside, ladies and gentlemen, that's an inside joke. Maybe one day we will share that all with you. um, so recently, the other three agents, not myself, have been able to catch up on some recent films. Sometimes some in the theater, some in other methods. So Johanna has actually been able to go see a movie that everyone else hasn't already seen 6 years ago. So we wanted to give you the opportunity, the stage is yours, to talk about The Imitation Game starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Keira Knightley, Matthew Good, and Rory Kinnear. So Johanna, take it away. Give us some information. What do we get from The Imitation Game?
Okay, so the movie is about Alan Turing, which immediately when I found that out, I'm like, yes! Because Alan Turing is the basically like considered the father of computer programming, and I have a T-shirt that says Alan Turing fought the Nazis with science, because that's basically what he did, and that's kind of what the movie is about. It starts with Alan Turing, this mathematician, being interviewed to work on this Enigma project, and the Germans had this code machine, or it was basically a code called Enigma that no one could break. So he was put on a team to break it, and in typical genius fashion, he has, the impossible ideas and doesn't like to work with anybody, and so meanwhile, there's this war happening, so you feel like this. It's almost like a 24 feeling of, they have to break the code. They have to break the code, or like more people are going to die, and they're going to lose the war. And I was telling several people that I've seen so many movies, especially like super action-packed movies, where nothing felt like it was at stake. Like, you're just like, well, the hero's kind of just going to walk off, and nothing here really matters beyond, like, boom, 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 and and it's not very suspenseful. With The Imitation Game, it is oddly suspenseful because of the stakes that are at hand. I mean, obviously people who lived through World War II, people whose parents, had parents who had lived through World War II would know this, but and I've seen it. I've seen footage, and I've seen reels, and I've seen everything. But for some reason, the film is really able to capture how horrible World War II was. I think sometimes we think about it as this black and white period, but the movie brings it to life without it being like Saving Private Ryan. It's literally very much a movie about a bunch of nerds sitting around trying to break a code. So, the acting. I recently got into Sherlock through my friend Kat, who might or might not be listening, and I have developed a love of Benedict Cumberbatch despite myself. And of course, when I heard Alan Turing and Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm like, I should watch this film. He is astounding. He's absolutely astounding, especially in terms of the fact that you kind of know it's him, but his mannerisms and like even like the setting of his face, like his mouth is in a completely different position than his mouth is, and just there's so many layers to Alan Turing in the film, and I'll go into some of the criticism in a minute. And he was severely bullied in school. He was gay. And, he also kind of has this arrogance, like, I'm so much smarter than everyone here, why won't anyone listen to me? And Benedict Cumberbatch is able to express all of that in a look or in a stutter, all of that, like all three layers of who this man was and what he was struggling with, not just being ostracized because he was smart and being told that he was crazy, but also the fact that he was gay. So I felt it was really good. Obviously, his performance was Paramount. It was what was going to make the movie. Keira Knightley was pretty good. Matthew Good is also in it. I don't know his name, but the hot Irish guy from Downton Abbey's in it too, and he has an interesting role. But overall, it's very much like Benedict Cumberbatch's show. And everything else is very interesting, but I found the movie incredibly compelling. Right before we jumped on, I started reading some criticism of the movie about how Alan Turing was not portrayed the right way, that actually he was a very jovial person, and they were making him out to be, you know, this stereotypical nerd who like didn't understand jokes, whereas I saw it more as it seemed like Alan Turing might have possibly had Asperger's or a mild autism. But they're like, you know, he joked, he wasn't this guy, like this portrayal is not what he was. And I can see that because honestly, from what I knew about Turing before I saw the film, he seemed like very social. Like I've read a bit about him, about, you know, working on the Enigma code with other people. But the portrayal is so compelling that I almost I'm like, okay, maybe someday a movie will come out where the quote-unquote real Alan Turing will be presented. But at the same time, I have to imagine that being severely bullied in school and being that intelligent and being gay has a certain amount of torture and pain, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch is really able to express that. I adored this movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, and so much of acting, I guess, is the actor or the director's portrayal of the person. So what their image of the individual is. So although it may not be the Alan Turing that a lot of people would associate themselves with, it may very well be. This may very well be the part of the character or the part of the person that the actor most identified with, and I'm sure he had to have done some research or some kind of background on the person in order to get enough information to be able to portray it.
It's based off a book about. It's probably the most famous book about Alan Turing, which it's called Enigma, and it's like the life of Alan Turing. You know, there's one point where he becomes engaged to Keira Knightley, even though he's gay. And he decides to break it off. He wants to break it off because he's worried that the project is getting too dangerous. And he's like, I'm gay. Like, this isn't going to work. And she's like, no. She's like, we'll have a marriage of the mind, and I'm not really worried about that. And, you know, finally, you know, he tells her, like, I've never had feelings for you. I despise you. And she says, and he really didn't, but she says, like, you really are a monster. And I was like, obviously he didn't mean what he said, but I can imagine someone who thinks they're that smart, who doesn't really get jokes, who was bullied severely in school, and on top of it is gay at a time where he was eventually tried for indecency, and he chose to be chemically castrated, after which a brief interval he did kill himself. And you have to imagine... Oh, well, it's in Wikipedia.
Wait, so that doesn't happen in the movie?
What, the suicide?
Yeah, does that happen in the film?
That was something that vaguely, it kind of bothered me. I don't.
Did it happen?
It like happens off screen in an epilogue, where it says, "Then he committed suicide," basically.
Right, because I think the movie was just supposed to be about them trying to break the code, right? Was that really the focus of the film? Outside of telling you obviously about his life and things like that during that time, but was that the key focus, breaking the code?
It was this, and this is something else I didn't like, and it's starting to seem to me like the thing that's holding this movie together for me is the ensemble acting, as opposed to like the general plot. So there is the code breaking stuff, but it's interspersed with this cop who Alan Turing gets robbed, and he knows why he got robbed. He got robbed because a male prostitute came to his house and then robbed him. So this cop thinks he sees the Enigma machine, and he's like, well, he must be some sort of spy. So he starts digging, and basically the plot about the code is interspersed with him having a conversation with Alan Turing and trying to figure out why he has an Enigma machine and why he got robbed. So there's that, and then at the end they have a conversation, and he has a conversation with Keira Knightley where he reveals he's been chemically castrated and he's not doing well, and then it kind of ends with that, and then the next shot is just like he committed suicide. And there's all of these portents of that because it was believed that he laced an apple with cyanide, and that's how he died. So there's a couple of references to apples and a couple of references to cyanide, but it wasn't really, I don't know, the way it ends, it feels weird.
So there's a part of me that's curious to know how chemical castrations went in the 40s, and then the man in me does not want to have.
Oh, it's very simple and not at all cringe-inducing. It was just estrogen.
Oh.
They just injected them with estrogen. Yeah.
Really?
So
That's all?
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's reversible.
It must have been something else with the estrogen, but I know that a result of it was like feminization of features in the body. So I thought it was estrogen.
They made them watch Pride and Prejudice.
Watching Pride and Prejudice.
They made them watch or read Pride and Prejudice, and
you go.
And they made them drink or ingest estrogen. Yeah, that would work, I think.
That'll do it. I think, estrogen milkshake. That sounds disgusting. I'm sorry, you guys.
No, absolutely. But you know what? If whatever gets the job done, if that's what you're really going for.
I really want to get chemically castrated.
Well, thank you for that review. Everybody go out and catch The Imitation Game. And actually, Benedict Cumberbatch was nominated for and won Best Actor in a Drama.
Oh, he did?
The Golden Globe for that role. So
he deserved it.
Clearly more people were for his role or for his portrayal than against it in Hollywood. So there's definitely that. So Joe also got an opportunity to see a movie that's been highly regarded recently, and that is American Sniper. Joe, give us a rundown about American Sniper, and what do you think about it? Well, just to give a quick overview, American Sniper stars Bradley Cooper playing the role of Chris Kyle, who is is he a Marine?
He's a sniper. He's a Navy SEAL who's a sniper.
Okay. So go right ahead, Joe. Give us.
So Bradley Cooper is on some kind of streak here. I mean, this time last year we were talking about Bradley Cooper in oh my God, what's the name of the film again? I was getting ready to say it.
American.
Yeah.
Which one? American
Hustle. Right. So last year, this time last year, we were talking about Bradley Cooper playing the FBI agent who's a victim of the con in American Hustle. And this year, it's a complete 360 or 180 rather, where Bradley Cooper is now playing Chris Kyle, the American Sniper. American Sniper is a movie which is based off the book of the same name, which tells the story of Navy SEAL Chris Kyle, who is credited as being the most lethal American sniper in American history. This man has recorded 160 confirmed kills in the battlefield. That's a lot. I mean, 160 seems like a lot to me. This man has killed 160 people confirmed in war. And he's played very convincingly by Bradley Cooper. I mean, if you look at a picture of Chris Kyle and you look at a picture of Bradley, I mean, they look pretty much the same. Bradley put on 40 pounds of muscle weight to look more like Chris. I mean, the accent, everything, the mannerisms. I saw some interviews on the morning television where they interviewed some of his former teammates, or what do you call it, people in his unit, and they were like, wow, I couldn't tell the difference. I mean, I thought it was Chris. So Bradley Cooper did a fantastic job there. But although the movie takes place obviously during the Iraq War, um, it's mostly the movie is like two movies in one. The movie is Chris Kyle in Iraq. He did 4 tours in Iraq, and they always show him he goes to Iraq, does his thing over there, and then he comes home and he struggles when he's home. He feels bad that he's left you know his teammates behind, his unit behind. He feels like he has a job to do, and he's like kind of depressed when he's home. His wife, played by Sienna Miller, she was very good too, playing the torn wife there. The caring, loving wife that misses her husband, can't wait for him to come home, and then he comes home, and he's home, but he's really not home. His mind is always over there. Now, when you get to the scenes in Iraq, there were some great scenes there as far as war and his ability to snipe, the decisions that he had to make out there, were sometimes gut wrenching. The things he had to do in order to protect the Marines that he was covering were, I don't know if I could do something like that. I mean, it really takes a different kind of man to do those things. But, in his mind, he's doing it for his country, and nothing's going to stop him from protecting the United States of America. So anytime he has to do, anytime he's focused on a target, he always asks God permission, and then he takes the shot. So, that's part of his, and the movie goes into it. He's a religious man. In the movies, in the very beginning, they show like his relationship with his dad and the kind of things his dad passed down to him, stuff like that. And it also goes through his he wanted to be a cowboy. That didn't work out, so he decided to become a Navy SEAL instead. So, yeah, they explain. I don't want to give too much away, but they explain the jump, why he feels that way. He goes into Navy SEAL training. They don't show a lot of it. They focus on parts of it. The Navy SEAL training isn't that long. You just know that he makes it through, and then he goes to Iraq. So I really do suggest everybody go see this film. I didn't know the story of Chris Kyle. I had heard of him. I had seen him before on the other, when he had wrote the book. He went and did the tour, so you got to see him there, on TV. But I don't think I'm spoiling anything here. He's no longer with us. I'm not going to say how, but he's no longer with us. And when Bradley Cooper was doing the research for the role, he got an opportunity to speak with him, and then shortly thereafter, he was gone. So I didn't know that when I was watching the film, and I was kind of like, wow, it really hit me right at the end. Like Johanna, you said they showed like the monologue at the end, or that's kind of like what they did at the end of this film, and I'm like, wow, man, I had no idea, But now it's all over the news now that Bradley Cooper is doing the tour, because the movie is going to be released nationwide this Friday. So they're going out there, and he's telling everybody, he's talking about it's not a turning point in the film. It's not the fact that he's dead is it just is. So I really do recommend seeing this movie. It was done very well. I was kind of surprised that he wasn't even. I don't even think he was nominated for the Golden Globe. I have to double check that. Willie, do you have that up?
For Best Actor Drama?
Yeah, he was not even nominated. I was very surprised. Surprised Clint Eastwood wasn't nominated. But the movie is very good. I think they'll get it back during the Oscars. But yeah, definitely go see it. You will enjoy it, but you'll be unfortunately be very sad.
So this movie was directed by Clint Eastwood, correct?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood everything Clint Eastwood directs seems to be gold.
Yeah,
most of the time.
I was gonna ask,
I,
so how would you compare it to the other films that he's directed recently?
I mean, I say it's right up there. What's the one that he with the female boxer,
Oh, Million Dollar Baby.
Million Dollar Baby?
Yeah.
Um, I would compare it closely to that only because they're both very sad, especially the way they end.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I would say that much. I definitely enjoyed it more than the I'm losing my mind here today. The one where he ends the movie pretending to shoot at the house with the fake gun.
Oh, Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. Yeah, it was better than that one. Uh, yeah, I liked it better than Unforgiven. I'm trying to think what else. God, he's done so much lately. Um,
It's interesting that Clint in his I guess in his 80s now, he's still capable of taking these stories and directing them and putting them out there and really getting a lot of recognition. As a filmmaker, he's making his mark. He's definitely making his mark late in his age as a filmmaker that can make powerful stuff.
yeah,
Um,
He's
he's
so sharp. Like he's so sharp for his age.
yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Joe,
Yep.
kind of brought the real world into it. I know that his autobiography was, I guess, kind of controversial. Some of the stuff he said, his depiction of what it was like to be a sniper and what it was like to make those kills. I think he described it as being, I think he used the word fun. I don't know, maybe. And and he's said some disparaging things about Iraqis, calling them savages, doesn't give a flying fuck about them, that type of thing.
Yeah,
Was any of that portrayed in the movie, or was it
no,
kind of
not really. No,
glossed
like
over?
he it looked like unless they were like just there to like there were definitely some people that he killed with ease because they were just you know trying to kill American soldiers. Um, there were some other ones where he struggled with, especially with children, where there are scenes where they use children to uh, to attack soldiers. So he definitely struggled with that. But there were no. If there were disparaging remarks, it was covered by his want to protect the United States. It wasn't like, oh, like these bunch of savages, ragheads. It was more like if he did call them savages, it was more in a way that he's saying what he experienced out there. I mean, that's what he experienced. So it wasn't so like, oh, those people are just savages. I'm like, especially when he's talking to his wife. Especially when he's talking to his wife, he's like, I'm trying to protect this country from those savages over there, or something like that. He may have said something like that, but it was never in a way where like it wasn't jovial, and it wasn't like he's trying to make fun of people or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It
I think
was.
to your other point, to your previous point, Joe, like number one, just being in that situation obviously changes you. Obviously, this is he definitely was not the person. I would assume that he was not the person that he walking into the war that he was walking out of the war or walking out of his situation. And on top of that, like you mentioned before, like it takes a certain type of individual to be able to pull that trigger. In these types of situations. So, the fact, I guess, like the fact that some of the things that he may have said in his book, I guess it's kind of indicative of like the type of thing that war does to people. I'm sure that if you did a autobiography of a soldier from just about any war, or even from the Iraqi side, talking about the Americans, it would probably have a very similar tone to it, just because it's war.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to kill each other. I mean, the war scenes were like really gritty. I mean, it was done well.
Hmm.
Um, you guys will see it, I'm sure, and hopefully the audience, the listeners will give it a shot as well. But yeah, definitely recommend it. Check it out.
All right. Well, go check out American Sniper and let us know what you guys think. You've gotten Joe's take. We may be giving you another written review in some form or fashion at some point. So if you guys get a chance to take a look at it, let us know what you guys think. Uh, so one of the other films that we wanted to review, I know Lorenzo's gotten an opportunity to mention it previously, but I think we wanted to really touch on it because of the fact that it looks to this film. I think won. Did it win Best Film?
Yeah, well, best drama motion picture.
Best Drama Motion Picture. So that would be the movie Boyhood. So Lorenzo, I know you got a chance to see it, and this is your opportunity to really delve into the film. Tell us all about it, and really show why this film why this film won its award, and what our listeners would be interested in when they go see this.
Yeah, so I mean, I first saw the film back in the summer. It seems like forever ago, and I said it then that it was the best movie of the year. I would say that it still is the best movie of 2014. Without having seen some of these latest releases that came out, I guess for Oscar consideration. But yeah, Boyhood was created by Texas director Richard Linklater, and it's basically the story of a child. I think he was like 6 years old, 6 or 7, going from being a 6-year-old all the way to starting university over at the University of Texas, and it follows an actual kid, for an 11-year period, starting back in 2002, and going all the way to 2013. His name is Eller Coltrane, and his mother is Patricia Arquette, and his dad is played by Ethan Hawke. The two of them are estranged, and so you get to see what it's like for this kid growing up in, I guess, what you would call a broken family, with his sister, who's played by Lorelai Linkletter, Richard Linklater's daughter. I thought a big, one thing you could say about this movie was that it's like the best home movie ever made, right? Because you basically he gets to just capture his daughter growing up through this period, and she does an excellent job. I think one of the true amazing things about the directing, or just Linklater in general, was his ability to spot the talent that from these kids. Because I mean, if it turned out that Coltrane was, ended up being a jerk, or ended up just being a bad actor, or just ended up whatever, his 11-year project would have been screwed. But you really, as you watch this movie, you really get the sense that you're getting to know this kid and what it's like for him and what kind of kid he is. And definitely you'd feel like, oh, if I met this kid out, in the world, I would feel like this is a good kid. You would like him. And so kudos to Linklater for really doing a great job picking his cast, which included Lorelai, his daughter. I know that Francis Ford Coppola tried doing that before and had some mixed results. And then, you get to see Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke start off, like 13, 14 years ago, what they looked like back then, and you see them growing older. It's a long movie. I think it's 3 hours long, but it goes by fast. It's 165 minutes long, and it goes by pretty fast. Linklater has a tendency to kind of run on, as a few of us do as well, and but with this movie, you're really caught up in this story, in the life of this child and the life of his family. So if we, the movie actually moves along really nicely, and before you know it, it's done, and that feeling, I think, conveys what it's like to be a parent. Um, you start off with this kid, and well, these kids, and your main concern is, that they don't get hit by a bus or catch on fire or be illiterate, and and you scramble to get them dressed, you scramble to like make sure they're in school, you scramble until the point that they are grown up, and it's like happens before you even know it. Next thing you know, they're moving out of your house, and you are left very much older Patricia Arquette, sitting at the table wondering like what happened to your life. So I think that was definitely captured in this film. Not to mention all the love that you pour out onto your kids. It was all conveyed very nicely in the movie. Nothing was sugar coated. Everything felt very real. Every experience felt I don't know. Nothing was given away. Everything in this movie came. It was worked for. It felt like the script was very much created out of these characters. So there was no cheap lines, no tugging at heartstrings. It was all very well earned, if you know what I mean. So I can definitely see why this film did as well as it did at the Golden Globes. I expect it to do just as good at the Oscars. It's an amazing film. It's an amazing project. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you're a parent, go see it. If you're a kid, go see it. If you're expecting to have a family someday, you should probably see this movie. It really makes you appreciate what you have and makes you think long and hard about, I don't know, those moments that you take for granted in your life.
So here's a question: is it excuse me? Is it something? Is it actually suitable for kids in terms of the content or what the kind of things that they're talking about?
I mean, it really depends on who you're asking, I guess.
Mhm.
For me, I mean, yeah, I got no problem. I wouldn't have no problem taking my kid to see it. When you say kids, do you mean like a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old?
Well, I mean, like,
I think it might be a little boring for them. It's very
right,
much a Linklater movie. It's very much driven by dialogue. There's
right.
not there's not very many explosions. Um, but it has. I think. I think if we're talking about kids, they would need to, be have some maturity, some kind of maturity going into the film.
So I would say I would ask for you to compare. Like it sounds like it's a coming of age tale or a coming of age story that tells it from the perspective of the child coming up as well as from the parent's perspective. I would say, can you compare it to other coming of age stories or coming of age films or coming of age shows that we've seen, over the years? What would it compare favorably to, if anything?
Well, I think it's funny because, like, if you took something like the Wonder Years, right? Um, Wonder Years, I loved the Wonder Years growing up. I really loved that TV series, and and there were moments in that where you really felt, where you felt like the show really captured some of what it was like growing up and kind of going through the awkward stages of life.
Hmm.
It had a pretty high cringe factor as you watched Kevin Arnold like just do all those stupid things that you yourself were doing or were about to do or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so but the thing about it, right, is that the other thing about the Wonder Years is that it went on for quite a while, and so you did get to see Kevin Arnold grow up. You know what I mean? Like it started off with him very much a cute little like fifth grader or something until he was well into I think high school. Um, and so it's kind of like Wonder Years condensed into 165 minutes or whatever, and with a lot less of the syrupy sweet dialogue and a lot less of the laying things out, the narrator just laying things out, or the director, or that the narrative in general just laying things out for the viewer. It's very more subtle than that, where the viewer needs to sort of figure things out for themselves, and there's not a whole lot of judgment calls being made by the movie.
Okay.
And I mean, and there's opportunities to do that too, because you see Ethan Hawke, and he's playing sort of the deadbeat dad.
Mm-hmm.
But even him, his story gets told, and you get to see what's going on with his own life, and he is a sympathetic character. Where I think it would have been really easy to make him, if not a villain, just like a flaky guy that that was sort of this tragic figure in the kid's life, or something for the children to, just like a foil, to the mother who really did give up so much to raise these kids. But he's not shown that way. He's shown, you see a lot of great things about him, and you see why these kids should love him and do love him, and you see his development as a person. You see him grow up. You see everybody grow up, including the father grow up, because they had the kids when they were relatively young, and so you see him sort of come of age as well.
I think that's good because it shows that side of it from the perspective of the parent, and shows that the parent that in raising kids, as we're all doing, the four of us in raising kids, one of the things that you learn is that you do grow up along with them. A lot of the things that concerned you, or a lot of the things that you thought about when you didn't have kids, you think about either a lot less or a lot more now that you do. So it definitely changes your perspective on things. Okay, cool. So before we jump off, I wanted to take a quick recap and do a quick recap with Joe and the rest of the group to kind of go over the Golden Globes. They were on Sunday, correct, Joe?
Did you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, it was this recent.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Right. Yeah. So while most of us, myself included, were either watching or reeling from the results of the football playoffs, some people, or at least a good 11, 12 million of us, were watching the Golden Globe Awards and watching everything unfold. So, Joe, I'll let you take it away. Was there anything, or I know you didn't get a chance to really go through it, but was there anything in terms of winners, losers, anything that kind of jumped out at you that you wanted to bring up?
Oh, definitely. I was the one thing that I was really happy to see, and I think I told Johan about this. I was really happy to see Gina Rodriguez take Best Actress in comedy or musical for Jane the Virgin, because I really like Jane the Virgin. I think it's a great show, at least right now it is. It's funny and it's dramatic. It's funny. It's a spoof on novellas to a certain degree, but it's very well done. I really like it, so I was really happy to see her, and I was surprised that she won. I didn't really think she was going to win.
I really liked her speech.
Yes.
She was talking about representation, not just representation of Latinos on TV and in movies, but like good representation. I think she said something like Latinos want to see themselves as heroes.
Yes.
And I thought,
No, it was a very good speech. Yeah, my wife and I were listening to it. It was like, man, you go, Gina. She gave a great speech, and she's always been an advocate for that. Even, she was offered a role on Devious Maids, and she turned it down.
Okay.
So, she's always, she's been about that. So I was glad to see her win. The other big moment of the awards, obviously, was George Clooney getting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, which is a Lifetime Achievement Award in film. And I think George deserves it. I mean, he's been around a long time. I was a little upset that they didn't show in the montage his because I don't know if any of you watched The Facts of Life, but George Clooney was on The Facts of Life for a while.
Oh, he wasn't credited for The Facts of Life.
No, they didn't show The Facts of Life. They didn't show Roseanne because he was in Roseanne at the beginning. They didn't show that.
He dated the sister, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I can't remember totally, but I know he was on there.
So then he worked in the candy shop on Facts of Life.
Yeah.
Seriously, Joe, Facts of Life and Roseanne, those are the things that are on like the third page of your resume, which nobody ever gets to.
Yeah, but I mean it's a lifetime achievement, so you want to show where you started and where you got to, right?
No.
So they started with ER?
Yeah, they pretty much went back to ER.
That ain't right.
They only went back to ER, and then they showed everything else. They showed clips from Dusk Till Dawn. They showed clips from pretty much all his films.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the ones that he directed, and those like Siriano, Michael Clayton, Good Night, Good Luck, all of those. And they did show, what was the Three Kings, the one he did with Mark Wahlberg, and the other movie he did with Mark Wahlberg on the boat. What was that? The Perfect Storm. So yeah, I thought it was good. Juliana Margulies and Don Cheadle were the ones who presented him with the award. So that was really good. I'm trying to think of any other shockers here. Grand Budapest Hotel winning Best Musical Comedy Motion Picture. I never saw it. I know it's a Wes Anderson film. I know a lot of people like him. I look at the trailer and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna find that funny. But clearly, tons of people did, and he won. His movie won Best Musical or Comedy Motion Picture. I really do still want to see Birdman. It won for Best Screenplay, and Patricia Arquette did win for Boyhood for Best Actress in a Motion Picture.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, and Michael Keaton won for Best Actor in a Musical Comedy. So. Yeah, those are, I wanted to see Boyhood, and I want to see Birdman. But the rest of them were kind of like, I really didn't know a lot of the stuff. Like, The Affair won for Best Drama TV Series. I've never seen The Affair. And Ruth Wilson won for Best Actress in a Drama TV Series, and she's from The Affair. So, a lot of this stuff I didn't really know enough about to really say, hey, yeah. I really had no, unlike last year, this year I had no, clear-cut, people that I thought were clear-cut winners. So that's why I really wasn't much into it. I really didn't know enough about all the, nominees.
Right. Yeah, no Alfonso Cuarón this year. So,
Yeah. He won the Golden Globe too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah.
That's where our bet started. So.
Yeah. I still can't believe he won an Oscar, but
I'm just gonna
for a 90-minute movie.
That he won it for Y Tu Mamá También and all the other movies, Children of Men, all the other awesome movies he's made.
You can pretend that. That's perfectly fine. You're perfectly entitled to that.
I still can't get over that. But anyway.
Well, great.
Unfortunately, Annie didn't win anything. My daughter was really hoping Annie would win something.
Well, Joe, we saw Annie.
Yeah, I know.
We saw Annie.
I knew she wasn't going to win anything.
Annie's not. It's nice to be nominated.
But if you're a 9-year-old girl, you love Annie.
I don't know if you guys noticed, or I don't know if you listened to our show, but I made it a point to you guys were talking about Annie, and Malik, you specifically mentioned the song that they actually added to the musical, to the movie, that it's not in the musical. So it was an original song by what's her name, Ayla, whatever. The song that they do in the Guggenheim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I heard you mention that on one of our previous podcasts, I checked it out, and I thought it was an amazing performance in the film. I really like that.
It's absolutely it's hands down my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
It's called Opportunity. Is the name of the song.
It was nominated for a Golden Globe. It didn't win. It lost out to Common and John Legend, a song that they created for the movie Selma.
Sia, that's what it's. Sia. That's
Yeah,
the name of the
the artist that wrote it. Yep.
artist. That
Yeah.
wrote it.
Common
Yeah.
Speech was really good too.
And my daughter loves Sia as well.
Yeah, that video she does where it's just like this girl dancing in a.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I've seen it enough times.
Yeah.
Seen it too many times.
Your daughter likes it, huh?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's everything. That's all we have for tonight's show. I want to thank all of the agents for giving their reviews of Imitation Game, American Sniper, and Boyhood. Those are all really interesting films, and films that may not have gotten the Hollywood box office push. I mean, well, American Sniper recently has been getting a lot of publicity, but Boyhood and Imitation Game are two films that I honestly can say, aside from, hearing them nominated or hearing them winning, there wasn't much fanfare about them coming into theaters. So if you get an opportunity to go see those films or just check them out on video or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, please do so and let us know. You can reach us by sending us an email, agentsofhelm@gmail.com. All the social media sites, we are available. You can hit us up on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and we will definitely give you a response. So before I drop off, does anybody else want to say anything about our next upcoming show, Johanna?
Our next upcoming show is going to be about POCs, people of color in science fiction. It's about visibility, and it's also about what the future may hold for people of color in science fiction. So I am super excited. We are going to have two guests. We're going to have Agent Jackson, who we've had on previously, and we're going to have Anthony Arbaiza, who is an actor who has worked on some science fiction films and kind of has some experience with science fiction casting, and he's also my baby brother. So yeah, and I gave everyone lots of pre-work. So I felt like a college professor, so there you go. It's going to be fun. It feels heavy, but it will be fun.
Yeah, we'll look forward. I do look forward to it, and we'll definitely helm it up. So, we'll figure out a way to put our own spin on it. Even if you start to get too deep, Lorenzo's always going to be around to muck that up.
I expect nothing less from you guys, and make it fun and non sequiturs from Lorenzo.
All my sequiturs are very non. I was trying to think of the word opposite of non, but I couldn't.
You can't because it's true. They're non sequiturs.
What's the opposite of non?
Yeah.
My sequiturs are very sequitur.
Sequitory.
So for Lorenzo, Johanna, and Joe, I am Malik. We are the Agents of Helm. Have a great night. Enjoy your week, and we will see you soon. Peace out.